Well, hello everybody, this is the Empirical Audiophile. What I want to talk about today was, I watched a video that I found was quite interesting, and it's by Skunkie. That's what she goes by. Now, Skunkie is an individual who redoes amplifiers, just about anything, and looks at them. I think maybe I mentioned her that she's taken some of these Chinese products, looked at them, found anomalies with them that didn't make sense, power supplies that needed to be updated because rectifier tubes were, blowing up on them, little things like that. She seems to be a self-taught electrical technician, which I think is very good because she seems to know what she's talking about. I have no qualms about anything she ever says or what she does. She's very forthcoming. She seems to just tell the truth. This is the way it is. And I like that. All of us, I guess we got to admit, at least myself, I don't know about you, but I kind of get tired of some of these people out there who every review is great and everything is wonderful and everything is kumbaya. And it just isn't. Not when it comes to stereo and stereo equipment. Not everything's going to be perfect. We all know that. DACs, for example. I got a DAC and compared it to a 29-year-old Premier 9. And I wasn't really as impressed with it for 29 years of technology that moved on. And that's what seems to be happening here. We seem to be moving on, but technology is not going by leaps and bounds like we would think it should, especially if you buy good used equipment. Now, I'm not talking about your mediocre equipment. Mediocre equipment's always going to be mediocre, no matter if they replace all the caps in a receiver or whatever. I hear a lot of people talking about Carver equipment. I would stay away from Carver equipment. He made Class D amplifiers. He also made, he would say how many watts something is, but that's only at peak it would make that kind of wattage, not RMS. But anyhow, going on to Skunkie, for example, she has the Shootout. I'll leave a link below so you can watch it. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. She has a couple clips. She has a GR Research from Danny speaker in there, and she has a speaker she made, that one. He sells it in a kit. And there's another one she bought, not from him, but somebody else. And she made them both, and she's going with these 4 speakers, and she's telling people about how they sound. The clip speakers that you buy off the shelf, the GR Research speaker that she bought that was claimed to be good. I mean, her analysis of, let's say, like the GR Research speaker from Danny, she said it didn't sound good. I mean, she just told the truth. It just didn't sound good. She doesn't know if she's doing something wrong or what. Is it take a special amplifier to make it sound good? But she said it just didn't sound good. Then she had a clip speaker, a larger clip speaker. She has a small one and then a larger one. They're 2-way speakers. And she says, well, these are not horns. She said, these are basically waveguides. They're not horn speakers. They're basically a waveguide on the clip speaker. And I don't know if she listened to somebody saying, replace the caps. Just like people tell me with my LTEC, oh, you need to replace the caps on the, crossover. You need a new crossover. Well, she did that, replaced the cap. She said she threw away the old parts that the clips had. She didn't think anything after she unsoldered them, put new caps on. And she said she destroyed the speaker. Excuse me. And that particular clip, she said it sounds shrill. Too harsh to the ears now. And she can't replace what she took off of it because she said she got rid of those parts. they were cheap, inexpensive parts anyhow. So, but even when she replaced the caps and everything with better caps, the speaker, she said, sounds shrill. You know, and I've often thought that with speakers I've heard. One of them was clips, and even you take your Bozak, you take your Jensen, you take your JBL. I've actually heard L-Techs too, sat down to go listen to them, and they do have a shrillness to me too, kind of like, you know, whoa, you know, it does something. Now, whether it's my hearing or not, or people, you know, we all know we have different kind of hearing, whether or not some people are more susceptible to that shrillness or harshness of a speaker than other people. Some people will go out and buy a speaker, let's say, like the Klipsch, if they're not like the La Scalas or the Kornhorns or something like that. And I always found that when Klipsch made their new line of speakers, you know, basically they were for your audio for TVs, you know, surround sound or something like that. I found them to be harsh to me. So I never cared for those Klipsch speakers at all. Like she said, a lot of them aren't horns, or they're using a waveguide instead of a true horn. But I never cared for them. They sounded a little too much for my ear. But then a lot of people buy them and they say they're just fine. So I guess to each his own when it comes to hearing. That's why I tell everybody, pay attention to what your ears are telling you. Don't be, you know, you can listen to your friends, see what the input they give. But basically it's going to boil down to you're the one buying them and you got to listen to them with your ears. That's why a lot of mistakes are being made when people buy speakers, because they don't take enough time out to listen to the speakers at the salon and decide whether or not that really is a speaker that's a little too harsh, the top end's a little too much, extenuated top end. I do remember there was a show, Expona, and somebody had a, no, it wasn't Expona, maybe it was McCarmy. I've been to so many shows, but a guy had a small speaker, and I thought they sounded pretty decent, you know. And then when I talked to some of the other audiophiles that listened to them, they said, they're okay, you know. And I thought, well, they sounded pretty decent to me. And then I remember when Von Schweiger speakers came out, they brought them to the club, and Von Schweiger himself came to the club and was demonstrating some speakers. I remember that. I listened to those along with, you know, 40, 50 other club members. And I said, that top end, it's not right. Something was wrong with it. And of course, other guys who were at the show, I thought they sounded great. And then shortly after that, we heard that Von Schweiger had taken his speakers, and those particular speakers we were listening to, and he had changed the tweeter because of the top end. Just exactly what I heard. So he changed it and fixed it. But like I said, other audiophiles said, hey, it sounds okay to us. And I guess what I'm bringing up is you got to watch everything closely. You got to almost train yourself on how to listen to music correctly, how it's being played, what is it you like, what is it you don't like. There will be other people out there who may say it sounds like garbage, and if it sounds great to you, that's all that matters. Bottom line, that's all that matters. But like I was going with Skunkie, and she had the 4 speakers. She had the GR Research ones by Danny, and she said they were unlistenable, which shocked me because some people have told me that you know, you need to redo the crossovers on your L-Techs. And I've always said, first, I want to hear it. I don't want to be doing any major changes, like especially to a crossover that the manufacturer did, and maybe screw it up. And then I went through all that work and money for nothing. You know, it'd be nice if somebody did redo a crossover and had the same speakers. I like to hear it. listen to it and judge it myself before I'm going to go through that kind of expense of changing something that doesn't need to be changed on the caps or how the crossover is done where it crosses over. I know like on these LTECs that I have, they cross over at 800. Okay, and from 800 on, they go to the horn. So, and there is a trim pot back there where you can adjust that horn so it could be louder. Let's say if you have a very dead room, you may need to bring that horn a little louder to equalize it with the bottom bass speaker. Like right now, I have these set at like maybe 9, which is very, excuse me, which is very low for the horn. It's funny how LTEC did it. They went from 0 to 10, 10 being the lowest, 0 being the highest on the horn. I know, it doesn't make sense. You would think 0, the horn would be off, and 10 would be louder, but it's vice versa. Don't ask me why they did that. So I got it at about 9 in this room, because this room that I'm in is a little more live than when I lived at my old house, where I had a lot of carpeting, big drapes. The ceiling was only an 8-foot ceiling versus a 12-foot ceiling. The room was smaller. There was a lot more furniture in there, a lot more to absorb the sound. You know, it was a different situation. So I had to turn the horn up to about 7, 7.5, a lot higher than they're turned up now to get them just right. And that is a big thing with horn speakers is you can adjust the horn. Tannoy does the same thing. They have adjustments in there so you can adjust it. But I was surprised at what she was saying. Just like if you watch the video, like I said, I'll leave a link for you. Because speakers that I thought were going to be killer, she said sounded terrible. And speakers that a lot of people say sound good from what other people have said, by her messing around with like the clips, for example, she literally damaged them in the sense that they were sounding shrill. They were harsh now. And she didn't like that. She said they're unlistenable. She said on certain music, they'll sound good. On other pieces of music, they will, you know, no, it's too much. So I thought I would just do a video about that. I thought it was very good, very honest opinion that most people do not give you. If they do something wrong and it doesn't sound good, well, tell us. Tell us the truth. If it doesn't sound good, tell us the mistake you made so we don't make that mistake. Like what I've done with these LTECs here, oh man, it's beautiful. You know, without changing the crossover, I found a lot of stuff out about how to make them sound better because of little things that by accident I found out that it made the speaker, calm the speaker down. What I mean by that is even these LTECs, to me, can sound a little harsh, you know, kind of get to you. I know I've heard people talk about with the clips too, that when they first buy them, they're great, but as time goes on, you change. The speakers don't change, you change, and your flavor may change a little bit. And you'll say, oh, these are sounding a little harsh. And there is a way to take the harshness out of the horns that I found out, just like I did my LTECs, that you can take that harshness away before you start thinking about, well, maybe they need a new crossover. Maybe I need to replace caps. You know, you can really damage your speakers like Skunkie did with one of the clips if you do the wrong thing. And that's basically what I'm telling you. Be very careful when people are telling you, if you're on forums or watching other channels, be very careful of the modifications that they are telling you are absolutely wonderful and great. You may wind up destroying your speakers or your equipment if you don't know what you're doing. So that's all I have to say. Just be very cautious. And basically, you decide what you want. And if you're going to listen to speakers or equipment, a lot of these reviewers, everything sounds great. It's terrible. How do you judge? If you can, try to listen to the piece of equipment, or maybe find a person who does videos that is honest with you. I try to be honest with you. I tell you exactly what I hear. No one, I think, is going to give me equipment because I would have to be honest with you. And honesty does not get you equipment. I'm going to tell you that right now. Honesty will not get you any kind of equipment from a manufacturer. They do not want honesty out of you. They want you to glorify their equipment and to make sure it sounds great because they're trying to sell a product. And I've often told you that. I see these old receivers, go for $3,000. They sounded okay. They weren't great. They just sound okay. If you don't mind buying these receivers, or I see a lot of Carver equipment coming up, I'd stay away from Carver equipment. Don't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. When he worked for Phase Linear, it was good stuff. Then he went on his own. Just stay away from his older stuff. I don't know how his newer stuff is. He's coming out with like tube amps and stuff now. Maybe he's a lot better. But when he was in that part where he left Phase Linear and he was making his Carver equipment like the 4000T or the 1.5T amps and preamps and with all this phase dither stuff and don't even, it's gray. It's all gray equipment. Don't even touch that equipment. That equipment will get you nowhere. You'll buy it and you'll be trashing it. And I hear people listening to it saying, "Oh, it listens great." No, it's not. I don't care. I see people rebuilding those pieces of equipment, and to me, that's just a waste of time. I take a piece of equipment like that and throw it in the dumpster. It's just not worth even rebuilding. It didn't sound that great. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if you have the right speakers matched up to it, it will sound great. But when I listened to it and I had it, no, I got tired of it very, very quickly and realized I made a mistake. So until next time you see Empirical Audiophile, happy listening.